Welcome to the Business and Enterprise Systems Mission Success Podcast, where we bring you the latest BES news and topics of interest. And our guest today is Colonel Jon Drummond. Colonel Drummond is the branch chief of BESPIN. How are you today, Colonel?
Doing fantastic. Hey, I appreciate John for you having me on today. I'm very excited to talk through BESPIN and all the amazing things that are going on here.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you because BESPIN is a hot topic with a lot of people, both internally at BES and externally. So for our audience that may not know this, BESPIN is the Business and Enterprise Systems Product Innovation Team. So if you will give us a quick snapshot of what that innovation is, what it is that BESPIN is doing.
Sure. So BESPIN got its start back in 2019. It really started off with 8 airmen in a closet. To really get after what mobile is, for the Air Force, they saw this huge tsunami of demand for mobile applications and how the DoD was going to use those. And so within PEO BES, they took 8 airmen, put them in a closet, gave them some Hot Pockets and some Mountain Dew, and said, hey, we need to see what it means to be a software factory, and we need to be specialized in mobile. And so over this 4-year span, that's exactly what they have done. So that 8 airmen now has really grown to roughly about 100 plus organic government employees. And then we also have our industry leading experts. So we went out and partnered with small businesses to really get after building mobile applications, how to get after design, how to get after the data pieces behind all applications for mobile and web, and then how can we deliver mobile applications at scale very, very quickly. And so we've managed to do that over this quick journey. And so that's been a pretty impressive milestone for us. So BESPIN currently is the only software factory in the Air Force and probably within the DoD that specializes within mobile applications and being able to deploy those mobile applications into Google Play, Android, and then any sort of government cloud instance or MDM, a MAGCOM mobile device manager. And so that's pretty special, but also being able to produce web applications as well and host those within Cloud One.
Okay. So tell me what's maybe the percentage of web applications you guys do versus mobile applications?
Yeah, so initially when we first started BESPIN, we had a huge demand really for web. And so we were probably about 85% web, but right now that swing is really swung pretty heavily towards mobile. And so with the mobile applications, it's about a 50-50 mix right now. And then we have a lot more customers right in the background where I really foresee that mobile demand increasing quite heavily here this next year to 2 years.
So tell me about BESPIN's mission.
Yeah.
What does it look like day to day with your team, and how is it that you're carrying out the mission? So what is the route to execution?
Yeah. And so for BESPIN, our main goal is really how can we create exceptional mobile and web software solutions that are going to empower our airmen, guardians, and really throughout the DoD. And really my approach since I've been here is that anybody can build applications, and we do have a lot of customers that come to us. Hey, I've already built this application through some innovation piece, or if there was somebody that was tech curious and really trying to solve a problem within their AFSC or their day-to-day jobs. And so for BESPIN, we are very heavily focused on the enterprise services. And so what I mean by those enterprise services is how do you enhance your speed of delivery to the warfighter? The days of taking a year to 18 months to get an app put on contract, get it developed, get it put in production, by that point in time, it's no longer used. And so for us, we've been very heavily focused on enterprise services. And so those enterprise services include our CI/CD pipeline, which we call MDAS, or mobile or mission delivery as a service. And that's our full end-to-end CI/CD pipeline, has all our security controls baked into that. And what we've really been focused in on is how to take all those security chores and push them to the left as much as possible. And so by doing that, as you start coding, you're getting that feedback on every line of code that you are putting through our automatic scanners. And what that does is when you get ready to put your application into production, all those security vulnerabilities have been addressed. All of those things are already taken care of versus waiting until the very end to get that feedback. And when you're waiting to the very end, you're going through and having to re-break your application, fix that security piece, rebuild it. So there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that. And then if it's not those security controls that kill you, it's really how do you get an application into the cloud? When we first started down this pathway for BESPIN of putting apps in the cloud, it took us about 865 man hours. And that's once the application was developed, ATO'd, ready to go, another 865 hours just to get into Cloud One. And so we developed a cloud operations section. And so what they have really done is gone through and blueprinted and try to take all of those security chores off the app team and just give them a blueprint of saying, this is where you need to go execute. This is how we expedite getting you into the cloud. We've had a very heavy partnership with Cloud One to hook our test environment as a replicate of their production environment. And so by doing that, we've cut that down to 16 hours, right? And so just for those two pieces alone, we're talking about how fast can we deliver software at the speed of need for a warfighter. And so very, very, very proud of those two sections. But we also have a design as a service or design studio, and they're really focused on the user-centered design, how your application is being used, getting that user-centered feedback of what features are being used, and really put those in a spot of your application that is friendly to get to, and you're not having to click down 10, 12 times to get there.
Yeah.
And so it's really trying to make our government applications have more of a commercial look and feel to them. And so that effort's been sponsored through SAP-CN, which we're very proud of that partnership with them. And then we also have a data side. So data is hard. Data is a very, very complicated problem. And really when you're building applications and ensuring that they can be utilized, we have to find a way to get access to those data points. And so we do have a data operations side that goes out and builds API connections. And so a lot of our traditional government applications have an API that's built point to point. So those are little highways, if you will. But it only can be utilized from me to you, right? And so it's that one way, and then we're recreating that same highway over and over again, which is not a good way of doing business. So we've gone through and really have an API focus mindset. And so our goal is, hey, we're going to build that roadway once and then give you access to it, or give anyone access to it that needs access to it and has the permissions to do so. And that's connecting through the big Data 6 platforms throughout the DAF that we're currently working with for that whole data fabric piece. So it's another SAP-CN initiative that we've been heavily focusing on. And the other piece to that is your authentication, right? And so knowing who has access to your application, making sure that's a user-friendly experience, and make it very repeatable across our applications at a very low cost is another piece that we've done. So really you take all of those pieces combined and really being able to cut down that path to prod, or how fast can you get an application to production, is pretty remarkable. And we continue to be very heavily focused in on those enterprise services. And so with that, it's given BESPIN this business model that we're able to, one, build your application. So I have 85 airmen coders that within the DoD, the Air Force is the only one that has a specialty code for that. And so they can build applications for you. And so we would call that turnkey along with our vendor partners. Or else it's bring your own application. And so right now there has been a huge demand in that area where people have built an application, just they don't have the security measures to get it into production. They don't have the pipeline to get it pushed to wherever they need to get it pushed in an approved way. And so we have been able to bring on those teams and get them into production in a rather quick manner.
Okay. You just did a lot. We're going to come
I
back to
did. I
some of
did.
that.
Sorry.
No, no, no. Fantastic overview. And I think when an overview is that vast, it tells you how much you guys are doing as a team. But I want to ask something. You mentioned development, design, data. I'm just going to pull out
Yep.
those three Ds. That's a unique skill set for a team and different team members. So, what is the experience level of people on your team? Like, where are they in their journey in the Air Force? And what are some of the things you're doing to train them, get them set up, upskill them? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, John, that's a great question. And that spectrum is very, very, very wide. I have some individuals that come right out of tech school and they barely know how to spell code, right? And so, how do you get after that person? But I also have individuals that have, made it through tech school. They may have a bachelor's degree, they have a master's degree in computer science. They've been coding in their basement since they've been 8 years old. And so really, how do you meet those individuals to where they currently are and get them to where they need to be?
Yeah.
And so that's been quite a journey for us. A piece that's my number one priority really in this chair is making sure the upskilling of our government workforce, and that's on the civilian side and the military uniform wearing side. And so initially, when folks arrive here at BESPIN, we do a assessment on them. And within how they do on that assessment, there is a training pipeline that we do put them through. And that's held within our parent organization that runs that for us. But that could really be anywhere between, I've seen people make it through as fast as, less than a month, all the way to maybe 8 months. It just depends on where that individual is. And really the intent of that is to get a level set of skill set before they are put on an application team or within one of our enterprise services. So I say you always got to be kind of this high to ride the ride. If you're going to any
Yeah.
type of a carnival or amusement park. But really, once they get that high to ride the ride, they get put on an application team. And from there, we continue to do development, and maybe through Digital University, which is a great application that does get after delivering cyber skill set and other skill sets. There's also paired programming, and that's something that I'm also very, very proud of here at BESPIN. And that's where across all of our enterprise services, we have went out and partnered with small businesses.
Mhm.
And those small businesses, some of them never been part of the DoD, others have, but they are very, very technical and very good at that niche piece of that software development pathway. But by us sitting next to that commercial leading expert and getting hands-on training, hands-on, hey, this is how you should do it, and mentorship, that has quickly upscaled our government workforce. But it's also been two ways. And so, like I said, some of those vendors have never been part of the DoD. But when they're able to talk to a member of the DoD and understand some of the pain points that they are going through, it puts them in a better mindset as they code as well to get after whatever problems that they're trying to solve. And so
Yeah.
really it's been this two-way street that's been very, very good for us. I'd say we've also been really successful in bringing in some very highly talented individuals into our from the commercial sector into BESPIN.
Mhm.
Recently I brought in a individual from design. She approached BESPIN, very excited about our mission, and she wanted to serve her country and find a way to get in the government workforce. And luckily, I did have a chief experience officer position, which they're pretty unique to find. But bringing her talent over to lead our airmen that are within that design studio piece has been a game changer for us.
Right.
We've also been able to do that within our cloud or our CI/CD pipeline team. Brought in another commercial leading expert there. He's only been with us for a couple weeks, and I'm already seeing that change and that upskilling already happening. And we've also done that with our current CTO position. And so for me, it's a really great mix of bringing government and commercial entities together and seeing how beneficial that can be. And it's truly been amazing to just sit back and kind of watch some of that happen and seeing the fruits of that labor and the teamwork that just happens here at BESPIN. It's a truly magical work environment here.
Really is. You guys do have, there is a great team spirit there when I've been at the facility. And what an amazing idea to bring in experts while you're also creating new experts.
Yep.
It's really is a great approach. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. No, I would say absolutely. And it's been a good trade. You know, I did mention, hey, some of those commercial experts come over to the government, but we also have that within our developers, right? That they get to a certain skill set and they've served their time in the military. They've done their 4-year, 6-year enlistment, and they want to proceed another option. And those individuals are highly technical. I mean, I would put some of my E3s and some of my E4s against any commercial leading expert any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I mean, they amazing, right? And so being able to see that trade back and forth of bodies is like I said, it's been pretty magical. I've never seen anything like it in my 25 years of being in the military. So I'm very proud of this organization.
That's awesome. Now, I want to go back to something you said earlier, that the production process and pushing things out. You said you went from 865 hours to a 16-hour process.
Yeah, for our cloud operations side. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are really, there's a demand for speed, but you're also meeting that demand. So with the need for fast turnaround or updates, what is the importance of BESPIN's CATO, or for those who may not be familiar with that acronym, the continuous authority to operate? What is the significance of that?
Yeah, so that's another significant piece in us being able to put applications into production rather quickly. And so if you go through what a traditional ATO, or authority to operate, takes to get, and so normally after you get an application produced, you get all the security pieces answered, and then you still got to go through and go through this ATO process. If you have a really good security team, you might be able to make it through that in 6 months, maybe 9 months. Sometimes they can take all the way up to 15, 18 months. It just depends on the complexity of that application. And then whoever that AO, so authorizing official, may be. And so there's only about 2% of the software factories across the DoD have what's called a CATO. And so what that really does is that we've had our pipeline itself gone through and accredited. And so our BESPIN pipeline, and so that's where that our MDAS or our CI/CD pipeline, all those security controls, all the automated scanning that's built in there, all the tools themselves have gone through an ATO process. Recently, BESPIN just got our ATO renewed, for 3 years, and thanks to the work of our security team and a lot of other efforts out there, we got rated as low risk for an ATO, which is really, really remarkable, and something we're also very proud of. But once you have that pipeline that's accredited, all you really have to do from there is look at the application itself. And so as I talk through all of those security bits have been pushed to the left for our SDE elements, that team is constantly getting feedback as they are developing that code on any sort of security measures. And they're answering those controls as they go through the development process. And so what that does is when the application is produced and ready to go production, we'll put it through another scan. We do pen testing on it. And that's just scanning just the application itself, not the full-blown pipeline. And so what that has allowed us to do is through our CATO, roughly it takes maybe 6 days, sometimes a little less than that, just depending, to get through that process. But within 6 days, you get what's called a certificate to field, which is based off our CATO. And that's our AO has given us that permission to issue out CTFs to individual applications. And that's that piece that authorizes them to go into prod. And so now we've taken this piece that was taking, like I mentioned before, 6 to 15 months, just depending on where you are, shrinking that down to 6 days, providing a real-time security posture, and then allowing that application to get delivered to a warfighter that's needing it right now, not 15 months from now.
Right.
So that's a piece that that's really our heartbeat for Bespin, and the ROI really is around that security side and that cloud side to get us get our customers there, and there's also a cost savings there as well. So they're not having to go out and pay for individual security experts for their application. They're able to leverage the security experts we have here at Bespin.
Wow. So to think of it in a non-technical place like myself,
Sure.
as I'm typing a document and I'm getting real-time feedback on spelling and grammar errors, you guys are getting that in the development process with security.
Yes. Yep. That's a
So
good.
this whole idea of security, what are some of the measures or some of the guardrails that are involved with that development process? I know you
Yeah.
mentioned a few already, but
Yep. So I did mention the SD elements, and so those are the really the individual security pieces that must be put into an application. Due to the fact that we push all our applications, all our web applications into Cloud One, which is the Air Force's cloud hosting, cloud service provider, you already get, and we have our hooks into there and we produce into there. There's about 150-ish to 170 controls that are automatically inherited that application team doesn't even have to worry about because they are given to us from Cloud One. And so with that, they get, if it's 70 to 100, however many that may be, but those are those individual security pieces that the app team must go through. We do provide real-time security scans as well through applications such as Checkmarks and SonarQube and others that provide, hey, how's your code quality doing? Do you have any sort of other vulnerabilities? And then at the very end of all of those pieces of getting all of that real-time feedback, at the very end of the development piece, we go through and do a pen testing, and that can either be an automated red team pen test that we do that still has a human in the loop there for certain checks, or having a in-depth pen test done by one of our pen test professionals. And so really there's a lot of checks and balances in there. Cybersecurity is extremely important, and nothing that we want to take lightly here for Bespin, but really for anybody within the DoD, just knowing the importance of that, securing information, securing the data, being able to have trustworthy data is critical for our warfighters. And so that is something that we put a lot of effort into, along with being innovative to get through that process as quick as possible.
this is amazing because you think about the security, the development process, all of the things that you guys are doing on a time-sensitive level that some of it, yes, those are business applications that may not be as crucial, but some of these are applications that are crucial in the moment for the mission to be accomplished. And to think about the turnaround time is just amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really neat about Bespin as well, that yes, we do fall under, the business enterprise systems, and we do have some business applications, but what makes us also very unique compared to some of the other software factories is that we are not functionally aligned, to anybody. So I use, Kessel Run, for example, awesome software factory, do a lot of great things, but they are directly aligned to AOC and C2 operations. And so if you don't fall within that little sliver, they're not able to help you. But, here at Bespin, we got applications that are being used within Ukraine right now, all the way up to doing childcare. How do I schedule childcare for my kid if I'm going TDY somewhere? So being able to have that wide spectrum of applications and different mission sets is also pretty cool. It's really, really cool to be part of that, and really seeing our airmen, from the youngest levels being able to really have an impact, and being able to see their impact is pretty amazing.
Right. I hope they realize that. And I know you and other leaders there are constantly trying to remind them, but that is amazing, the footprint that's all over the place. So Um, we're a mobile society.
Yep.
When I think about all the things that I do on my phone, so much is done with mobile devices now, and BESPIN is providing the tools for the military, across the military, not just the Air Force, but um, this statement, mobile first military, preparing for the next fight. So, what role does mobile technology play in military operations at any level?
Yeah, John, that's a great question and something that we are very, very passionate here at Bespin, and really the way forward, we're putting a lot of emphasis currently. Um, we are a mobile society, right?
Yeah,
There's 6 billion mobile devices across the world. The days of carrying, laptops and MacBooks and big server racks and all those sort of things are probably behind us.
right.
Especially when we start looking at a big peer type conflict. That's on all of our minds right now. And really, how can we deploy very, very quickly and be in a very agile manner? And for me, it's this, a cell phone.
Yeah,
Every one of us has a supercomputer in our pocket, right? There's more technology on this than how we put people on the moon.
right.
So if we're able to leverage that and being able to put a mobile device and with mobile applications that have mission needs and requirements in that warfighter's hands, that's going to be a very, very powerful tool. We've already seen a lot of that in throughout Ukraine, right? The Ukraine Russian conflict. You can do Google searches on it and just see the impact that mobile is having. From everything to being able to take down drones to how they're communicating and how they're conducting operations. But
Yeah,
for us to really be focusing on how can we do that and do it in a very safe manner without leaving a digital footprint in places that may not need a digital footprint, or how do I go about if I'm sitting on the flight line having to order aircraft parts? Right now that's done through really pen and paper, and then they're going back to their office and having to input data into some random database. Why are we still doing these things that we could execute and generate sorties so much faster by using mobile? And so that's really where our mindset is today. And what we're really driving towards is showing that those benefits. Because for me, that it's the way of the future. It's the way that we're going to win or lose our next conflict. Is how are we able to be better at mobile than our adversary?
right.
My my answer is yes, we will be, but we got to start now, and we got to push a whole lot harder and faster. So we can definitely get there.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier a lot of your airmen are coming in much younger
Mhm.
generation, Gen Z, and also the need to design these applications that they're more user friendly. Do you see a lot of positive influence from some of your younger designers of how they are able to make these apps more user friendly?
Yeah, 110%. They grew up with a cell phone in their hand, right? From the
Right,
time they were able to hold anything. Um, and it's almost sad to a point. The first thing we do when an individual joins the military is we take their cell phone away from them, right? And they go into freak out mode. I can't live without my device, right? Because they're used to doing everything, right?
right,
Uh, Even in my personal life, I don't I do all my banking from my cell phone.
right.
I don't even remember the last time I logged into a laptop to conduct any sort of private business. But for them, they live that, right? And so by having that mindset and knowing what right should look like, we've been very, very successful. And we're really the only ones that have brought in, young airmen and put them into design. And the way that they have flourished there, um, it, it's um, it's it's amazing thing to see, and the feedback they're able to give teams and be able to provide that training to others, and really be able to sit down with a customer and walk them through of what an application should and feel look like is pretty amazing for some of our very young, 19, 20-year-old airmen out there.
Yeah. So what would you say um, is the Bespin secret sauce, I guess? How are you guys really moving the needle compared to some other um, software factories, DoD, whatever,
Yeah.
that are equipping the mobile warfighter?
Yeah. So for me, it's a team approach. The very first piece is your acquisition model,
Yeah,
right? So your business model. How do you do your customer engagement side, and how fast can you put customers on contract? It's pretty interesting. Last week, I had the opportunity to go to Singapore for we have an international exchange with the Singapore Air Force, and being able to sit down with them and be able to collaborate um, and and talk through things that they're doing extremely well and things that we're doing well, and share some of that. Um, Within Singapore, and there's other entities that are doing this, just their acquisition model, it takes a year plus to put an application just on contract. And so that's before you can even start on anything.
wow.
For BESPIN, one of the things that we've had in play now for about 18 months. We went through and created IDIQ contract vehicles. And so that's a very modular approach that we're able to meet customers where they are at and take them to where they need to be. So they don't need maybe the full BESPIN CI/CD pipeline. They may not need the Cato. They may not need every bell and whistle. They just may need some design work. They may just need that little twitch of how can I make my application better? Hey, I just need a NIAP scan. I just need a scan so I can get my application into the Apple Play Store. But by us having that mechanism in place, that our average timeline to put a customer on contract once they have money in hand is 36 days. So I just touched on the Singapore Air Force of going, for well over a year, and that's the case for many of us in the Air Force as well.
Right.
But that very first step is how fast can I put somebody on contract? How fast can I put people to work? And we're able to do that within 36 days. And so for me, that's step one. And then step, 2 and 3 is how fast can I get to those security chores? How fast can I get into the cloud? And we've been able to, we've been tested and put our money where our mouth is. Just recently we put an application for Space Force. It was their first mobile application. It's called Guardian One. Anybody go out there and download it. Highly recommend it. It's awesome. But the Space Force called and said, hey, we want to develop a mobile application that we can put in the hands of every single Guardian. And we need it now. How fast can you do it? Challenge accepted. 74 days. We had it in the Apple Play Store, ready for any Guardian to use and be able to get up-to-date information from their senior leaders. And so for me, that's, and I was still asking my team, 74 days, can we do it a little faster, right? And so it's a matter of still remaining innovative, not accepting the status quo, and really being able to empower our airmen. For us at Bespin, we believe in ideas over rank. I'm the dumbest guy in the room any day, every day, right? And I love being that dumb guy. I love being able to go up to one of our very junior persons that may just be brand new in the military and say, I have this severe problem. This customer has an issue. I need you to go solve it. And if they fail, it's okay, right? We fail fast, we fail forward. But I would say more times than not, they blow me away, right? They will knock your socks off. But it's being able to take that risk, being able to empower your people, being able to trust your people, and not crushing them when they do fail, right? Because we all learn from failure. And so for me, I think that secret sauce is really our culture, our environment. Because, I did list off lots of things that we're doing very, very quickly, but none of those things would be possible if we didn't have the people that we have within Bespin willing to push the needle, willing to take risk, willing to go to bat and really advocate for things they truly believe in, is where you need to be. And so for me, when you say, what's your secret sauce at Bespin? It's our people, hands down.
Awesome. That's awesome. You covered so much. There's so many great things going on at Bespin. This is maybe kind of a crazy question to ask, but what's next?
Yeah. So what's next is we can't accept where we are today, right? And so what is that next best thing? And that's a piece that we challenge ourselves with every day. Technology changes really, really quickly.
Right.
Our military changes very quickly. How are we going to be able to adapt and overcome our future enemies, right? And that's where we need to put our focus. So really for me, what's next is how do I increase and be able to put mobile at the tactical edge, right? How do I empower those warfighters that are at the tip of the spear? How do I empower those airmen and guardians that are doing space operations, that are doing things on the flight line? How can we make their jobs easier and quicker to allow them to execute their mission, right?
Right.
We don't have the force that we once had. Our enemy is moving very, very quickly, and so we need to figure out ways to make all of our airmen move quicker. And so, what are some of those tasks that we can take off their plate and make it possible to solve through a mobile device? So we are placing a lot of emphasis in that right now. We do have a piece that we call our Mobile Operations Support Suite, or MOS. That'd be a topic for another day to really dig into that. But that's, for me, really getting after providing mobile capabilities at the tactical edge, getting airmen to where they are and taking them where they need to be, and making them more efficient at their jobs so they can really focus in on what they are there to do, is a win. And really, for the only way for our military to continue to progress and move faster and stay pace, we got to find ways to do that. And so for me, the answer is mobile can really help achieve a lot of those goals.
Really good stuff. And like you said, you could talk about some of these things more. I hope we can talk with you and some of your other teammates on even more things going on with BESPIN.
Yeah, we would love that.
Hey, tell us how we can learn more about BESPIN.
Yeah, so for BESPIN, we're always on the road. That's something we do pride ourselves. We do enjoy getting out, seeing our customers, meeting our customers, talking to new people. But we're always very interested in that. We can be reached at info@teambespin.us. Is one of our, and then we also have a website. So you can go out there and Google just BESPIN. You'll find the mobile software factory there. And we've put a lot of work into that website and really looked at ways to communicate better with our users. So if you have feedback out there, please hit us up. If it's not doing that, but it does list all of our services out there. It has ways to get in contact with us via email and talks about all our services that we do offer. But then we also, for any small businesses out there, we're always looking for ways to, once we got to stay relevant. We're always looking for more technical ways, or that next technical thing that may be out there. But we do also do monthly vendor engagement days, where we do sign up for individuals to learn about BESPIN, and then an opportunity for those businesses to come and tell us about their tech and ways that they're doing things. And for us, we cherish those things, those engagements as well.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Colonel Drummond, it's been an honor and really a privilege to talk to you here even more. I know a little bit behind the scenes, but you really shed a lot of light for me and our listeners, and I really appreciate your time today.
John, I really appreciate you asking me to come on today and just giving me the opportunity to talk about BESPIN. I'm very passionate about this organization.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about the future of it and the way that we're going to be able to change the way we do things within the DoD. So once again, thank you for this opportunity. Thanks for the time, and look forward to future engagements.
And to all of you, thank you guys for joining us today for the BES Mission Success Podcast. At BES, we run the systems that run the Department of the Air Force, moving money, manpower, and materiel. Until next time, good day.